I do this shit for the love of the game.
Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Check, 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 check. Don't know what just happened. I had everything set up. Now all of a sudden it just decides not to work anymore. Check, check. Don't know. Alright. I don't know what the fuck happened there. The stream was about to start, then it just decided to end on its own. I don't know. See, I had it set up ready to go, and then I don't know why it just was like Streamlabs decided to just be like, "No, you're not having a stream today." Now I gotta make sure everything looks okay. Technical difficulties that just happened for no reason. They just happened. Welcome to episode 25 of Tgan Live. And I'm wearing a tank top because it's extra hot today. So don't mind my hairy shoulders. But this week, we finally actually have some adaptation news to talk about. One of them's kind of a pretty big deal. But also the other big news is that Todd Howard is out there doing damage control, which is kind of unusual. I've never really seen Todd Howard out there suddenly just doing a whole bunch of interviews. But he's doing video interviews, he's doing article interviews, he did an interview with Jess Gordon, he's interviewing with Jason Schreier. And basically, it's one of those shut the fuck up tours. We're making something, stop complaining, go to hell kind of thing. So lots of different interesting news to drop about that as he's talked about the future games and what's happening next. So we're going to get into that. And they also just recently did some updates on the casting for the Far Cry TV show. So that's interesting because the Far Cry show is getting more and more interesting the more I learn about it. And I could see it's another one of those shows that end up being really good that no one thought about. You know? Like another Twisted Metal. It comes out and no one realizes how good it actually is and no one watches it. Okay, but the big news in the game adaptation space is that the actor for the God of War TV show, after 4 episodes being filmed, tore a bicep, which is a pretty serious injury. And Amazon said, well, fuck it, we're not going to wait. We're not going to wait for him to recover, because that actually recovery can take a long time. It can take months to recover for that, and they're not going to wait. So they're going to recast, but who are they going to recast? over here, just announced yesterday. God of War to recast Kratos' role following Ryan Hurst's onset injury. So here's that one picture they released, that awful picture that looks like it's on a set and it's half AI. But god damn it, as they begin over here on the Hollywood Reporter article, Amazon Prime's God of War series will recast the role of Kratos, the titular God of War, following the injury to the original actor, Ryan Hurst, Sons of Anarchy. But god damn it, as they begin over here. Wait. Oh my god, don't... Oh, this is from the show. The game, I mean. Alright. They're showing, they link to something else. I thought, whoa, they have actual footage of Hurst on set, but no, it's from the game. So Hurst tore his bicep while performing a stunt, pausing production. The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed the show has already been delayed long enough. God of War is greenlit by Prime in 2022 December. Hurst has had surgery, but it will be a long recovery. The God of War cast and crew were informed of the decision to recast Kratos on Thursday. God of War already has a 2-season commitment, which I don't get how they could always just do that. John Bernthal is the man. God of War already had 2-season commitment. Ronald D. Moore as showrunner. Frederick E. Toy directs the first 2 episodes. Those and others will undergo extensive reshoots. God of War is already filmed for months in Vancouver. It had 4 episodes in the can. But how much of those 4 episodes can they reuse? I'm sure there could be something they could use. In terms of, you know, shots that don't have the actor in it. Or maybe just the kid. But I think about the kid. Like, if the kid, while they're trying to recast, the kid could get older, because kids at a certain age can suddenly fucking just sprout up and become older overnight. Also, they have Ed Skrein from Jurassic World Rebirth, also in the first Deadpool, stars opposite new Kratos, whoever ends up being, as Balder. The cast also includes Callum Vincent as Atreus, Max Parker as Heimdall, Ulfar der Ulfsson as Thor, Teresa Palmer Sif, Alison Duncan as Mimir, as in the head. Are they just gonna have the head like in the games, hanging off Kratos's like belt or whatever? Jeff Golka as Sundry, Danny Woodburn as Brock, and Mandy Patinkin as Odin. The series will follow the storyline of the 2 most recent God of War games, which has Kratos and his 10-year-old son, Atreus, embarking on a journey to spread the ashes of their wife and mother. Through their adventures, Kratos tries to teach his son how to be a better guy, while Atreus a better human, blah blah blah. I've always read that part. The picture, by the way, was a huge problem for God of War creator David Jaffe, which I actually covered in another live. Because this is several months old. Yeah, it was back in March. So he wasn't impressed with how it looked. But the picture, it does look pretty ridiculous. I'm sure everyone's trying real hard, but it's so dumb, Jaffe said. It's a terrible image. It is bad in so many ways. Kratos just looks stupid. And don't even get Jaffe started on the kid's hair and that rock behind them. The God of War TV series hails from Sony and Amazon Studios. Moore, who has overall deal at Sony, executive produces a bunch of things I don't really care about. So TMZ first reported it. Deadline first reported it would be recast. This was 2 days ago they said that. Odyssey has already made 257 globally on opening weekend. How old are these articles? Is that music too loud? Maybe turn it down a little. Sounds loud on my end. It's probably not as loud. Actually, it might be. Yeah. That's higher than I should be. La 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 la.
It's probably not as
I'm always like making sure I can be heard. So yeah, what anything further that Deadline has to say other than the fact that he got hurt? Heartbreaking development to Hearst, who underwent physical transformation, putting on 40 pounds of muscle and worked hard for months on the set, filming the physically demanding role. Hearst tore a bicep while doing a stunt, as first reported by TMZ. According to sources, he's already gone undergo surgery. Gotta War paused production immediately. Why is I capitalized? See, even in Deadline, I don't think I've read an article lately that doesn't have at least one spelling mistake, and even Deadline has a capital I for no reason. Hearst's projected recovery time is unclear, but for a serious bicep tear requiring surgery, it's typically 4 to 6 months, with the return to full strength taking up to a year. Given the physicality of the role, it will likely not have been safe for Hearst to resume filming until 2027. According to sources, while Hearst's full recovery is a priority, the period required for longer than the production shooting schedule could accommodate, leading to the difficult decision to recast. Also, they're saying prep is expected to begin mid-August for mid-October. So they think they're going to be starting again in mid-October. So they're saying that in mid-October they could start production again, but they're basing that on the fact that they think they're gonna find someone in that time. Do they already know who they're gonna cast? Like, do they have someone waiting for issues like this? I don't know. Do shows and movies, do you even prepare for that? Do they have an understudy? Just like in plays and shit, they have understudies if someone gets hurt or sick. Do they do that for movies? Yeah, that's a pretty pricey incident though. Like, they gotta basically reshoot episodes 1 to 4. It'd be hard to use much of the existing footage as kids grow up fast. Just like I said, the kid could get older while they're recasting the guy and have to, like, you know. For Hearst, the recasting news comes as he faces extensive coverage. So yeah, Hearst is in Nolan's Odyssey. Okay, who isn't? Seems like everybody in Hollywood is in that movie. God of War follows. Yeah, right. Whatever. That's. We already know all this. Recasting the lead of a series after an injury is unfortunate and extremely rare. Under similar circumstances, O'Shea Jackson Jr., aka Ice Cube Jr., in February 2020 replaced Winston Duke as lead of Apple TV's Kevin Durant drummer Swagger. Who's Winston Duke again? I forget. The name is familiar. Oh, right, yeah. See, I knew he'd be one of those guys that I recognize. He was in the Black Panther movies. You bald-headed demon. Meanwhile, Netflix shut down production in its series 7 nights after the John Show sustained a knee injury. Oh, damn. And all that time just to reshoot it and be like, meh. With the pandemic factoring in, the series resumed production 11 months later with Chew. Is there any articles besides this one? The last one was in March. I probably already read that. Sorry to read this. My best wishes to Ryan. Nah. He's too old. Christopher Judge, the guy who did the voice, that guy's in his 60s now. That dude's too old to do that fucking live action role. Hearst is like 50. I actually looked up how old he was. Yeah, look how old he's. 64, so he's in his 50s. He's probably like 60 by now. He's 61, man. That guy can't play Kratos. He's 61. Okay, Hearst is only 50. And he tore his bicep. Not that I'm saying age has anything to do with it, but oh. Yeah, this is from old a while ago. But it's always fun to see on Reddit what they have to say about Ryan Hurst. I'm sure if I go to God of War, it'll be one of the first ones there. Or one of the sooner articles somewhere. Okay, so how far down are they going to have this information? Because that already seems they're like over it. I mean, it's God of War. It wouldn't just be about the game, would it? Yeah. Not to sound insensitive, but I never liked Ryan Hurst. Time to roll the dice again. This must be someone made an AI video. Stop it! Fuck. Actually, I don't even know if you guys hear this on your end. I think I have that turned off. But someone must have did like a AI of the big, huge guy. He's too tall to be Kratos. Kratos is big, but I don't know. It's almost like, is he that big? Because this guy is fucking massive. He's in over 7 foot tall. Did he like make this for himself? Like, is this an actual video? When is this from? This was from a few years ago. Wait, so this is like a video that maybe he actually did make. It wasn't some fan AI shit. Let's see if I turn that on.
Ragnarok.
Welcome in the Dutch giant gym that is unequipped. construction, but that's not what this video is about.
So this is actually a real video of him. So did he like recreated? Fuck, this is. I'm watching this. That's for sure. This guy is big though. Look at him. He's over 7 feet tall. Like I think the taller you are, it's harder to get big. So you know.
It's about an email that I got from Sony PlayStation if I can help them with the launch event of God of War Ragnarok in Belgium. Now the email stated that they have seen a cosplay of me on Instagram and if I can show up in that suit helping them with the launch. One problem, that photo is kind of fake. The shoulders were photoshopped. I don't have a suit. And the event is in 15 days. I have to call my friend Lawrence. If there's one guy who can create a suit in 15 days with so much detail, it's him. I really hope he's going to say yes. Let's see if he can do it. FX, this will be our first in real life meeting to create a Kratos suit, Kratos character, Kratos weapons, everything. Very excited for tonight. Everybody's already inside. It's the first time I'm going to meet them. Let's go. How many years? 4 or 5 years ago? We worked one time together for, what event was it?
Comic-Con.
Yeah, but also the horror show.
Oh yeah, also. Yeah, that was before that.
With Sony?
Yes.
Your
yes, my
wife?
girlfriend. Yes. But she made you into a monster. And I think I made you into an orc.
I think the editor will show that now. No, great. Yeah, thanks for taking this project on.
Sure.
Jeroen. And Anneke.
The teeth, yo.
And I think you wanted the shoes, is that correct? She couldn't find
have terrible teeth.
size of my shoes, which is pretty obvious. Because
Yes.
Why does everybody have terrible teeth? Like, where the fuck are they again? That guy looks like his teeth are about to fall out. Like, what the fuck, bro? Pick up a toothbrush.
It's a 51, right?
yeah, no, this is 52, I think.
Even. It's huge.
It's really huge. Yeah, so one person is missing, the girlfriend of Lawrence. What will she be making of the suit? Or
She'll be doing all the prosthetics. Specifically. Yeah.
So the scars and the makeup also? Or?
Yes. Yes. Well, the makeup is going to be the two of us, and I'm going to measure the size of the scar.
Yeah.
Which of course has to be with you because otherwise it'll be too small. Jeroen is doing all the leather work. Anneke is doing all the fabric work. So, and then I'm going to do all.
PlayStation actually sent me this file. You already found it
I
on
already
Google.
found it. Yeah.
And I was so amazed about how detailed they made this suit in pictures and in the game and all the crafts. And my first thought was that this was going to fail because when they asked me to do this, become Kratos, I only had 15 days to find a team and make a finished product. And now I found them in 3 days. It's this great little team. And now we have 12 days, so yeah, it's incredible. For me, it's a kind of a dream coming true because you remember that I played Uruk-hai in the supermarket?
Right, yeah.
And I always said I want to do that one more time, but professionally.
Yeah.
And it's like 8 years later now.
Yeah.
And now, PlayStation is sponsoring the suit.
Right.
And the weapons and everything, and now we can really make it come true.
We're trying to measure out the size of the pauldron, and of course we have the visuals, but we have to translate the visuals to the size of all of you.
So we just arrived at the next piece, the arm piece. I think you call it a gauntlet, protecting me from all the attacks. Okay, it's 12 in the evening. We just finished 4 hours of fitting, discussed everything, how they're going to make it. They now have only 12 days to finish it. Really curious how it's going to look. Can't wait. We're back at Hunters FX. 12 days ago we started this project. 12 days later we have the final fitting. And I have the axe from ancientsmithy.com, the Leviathan axe, the Kratos axe from God of War. I'm really curious what everybody has made and what it's going to look like. I found their website. They have amazing weapons, and I actually saw the God of War weapon there. I messaged them, and they sponsored me with this weapon because they wanted to help with the project. So many thanks, Asian Smithy, and please guys check their website. It's really worth it. If you want an axe like this, they are your websites to check it out. That is cool.
That is just amazing.
And look at this. They carved in the Dutch giant.
Wow, that's a good detail.
Lawrence, you have the scars?
Yes, I do.
So when we look at the pictures, he has a scar on his, this is the ribs.
Yeah, I think the stomach, just under the ribs actually.
Yeah, and above and under the eyes. Yeah,
This is the stomach one. And then the other one, I made a little bit more dark. And that's actually the one we're going to use on the eye. So more specifically, it's going to be like so.
Yeah. There are still so many more pieces that need to be connected, artwork that needs to be done. This is just a glimpse of what it's going to be. End results tomorrow. We are going to work through the night. While the team is finishing the suit back in Amsterdam, we drove to Antwerp. It's 1 o'clock in the evening. Going to wake up in 6. Still have to eat my own high protein meals wherever I go. Okay guys, good night and see you tomorrow at... Okay, a few days ago I called my film agent, can I please go bald to become Kratos' God of War?
You can do it.
And he said, no, I will kill you.
Shit. They wouldn't let him shave his head. But yeah, I skipped past that little obvious ad there. I wasn't a fan of that. But whatever, you gotta get paid.
If you do that because you have a very, very big casting coming up in December, which I didn't know. So we're going for a bald cap. That's how we're going to do it. Okay, scars are on. Next step is the eyes. Pretty curious. I'm probably going to cry like a little baby in the first 5 minutes.
Look at that motherfucker. He beat. So big.
Je bent zo klein.
Nice. Good job, homie. Good job, homie. So I don't know. Why don't they recast him as that guy? He's probably too tall. I think they should just cast Alan Richardson. The guy's already big. He already works with Prime, so you know, he's already there. So part of kind of the news that's been coming out after Todd Howard seems to suddenly be going around and doing interviews and dropping all types of news. This is from Pure Xbox. 2 follow remasters announced. And they finally officially announced The 3 and New Vegas Remaster, both confirmed. Dates for both games will be revealed at some point. It's showing a quote, but I'm assuming it's probably from Todd, but they're not saying it is or not. Meanwhile, Obsidian's rumored Fallout game is now official. Bethesda simply stated it's a new Fallout project. That's it. Fallout 5 is in pre-production. 76 continues to remain a big focus. So they're adding a prequel to 3 and 76. Okay. Fallout is one of our biggest priorities. So, like, they're still barely even working on it, and they still haven't released Elder Scrolls 6. And it's going to come out after that. And it's already been over 10 years since fucking Fallout 4. Both Fallout 5 and Elder Scrolls 6 are on Creation Engine 3, described as a tech platform that allows our teams to support multiple projects simultaneously with new tools, rendering, and systems. Elder Scrolls 6 is a Bethesda game studio. Elder Scrolls 6 is a Bethesda game studio's primary development focus as things stand, and the team, most of which are working on, are apparently loving how it looks. Elder Scrolls 6 is our primary development focus today. With the majority of our team currently working on the next chapter of the franchise. Over 65 million copies sold, players are still exploding Skyrim 15 years later. But we know it's been a very long wait for the sequel. The next chapter is on the way. We're where we plan to be, loving how it looks and playing it every day. The Elder Scrolls Online developers ZeniMax Studios will apparently partner closely with Bethesda Games.
A call that I did not expect from the people at Xbox and Bethesda. They said, hey, would you like to speak with Todd Howard? And I said, of course I would like to speak with Todd Howard. Todd Howard, if you're not familiar, is the longtime director at Bethesda Game Studios. He directed Morrowind and Oblivion and Skyrim, all of those Elder Scrolls, most recent Elder Scrolls games. He directed all of the most recent Fallout games, Fallout 3, Fallout 4. And he is someone who also directed Starfield. He is someone who I've had a lot of respect for, who I've gotten a chance to talk to in the past 15 years ago, but haven't talked to on the record since then. I've seen him at events and we've kind of chatted casually, but haven't had any proper interviews since then. And there's a pretty wild reason behind that and some interesting backstory. And I'll get into that a little bit later. But first, I want to actually get to the news that they are announcing today and some of the stuff that he told me in this interview. And then later on, I'll explain why it's been 15 years since I've talked to him and how that actually changed. So what's the news? Well, last week, Xbox and their new CEO, Asha Sharma, announced the big changes that they are making to the Xbox organization. They announced a whole lot of layoffs, 3,200 job cuts, 1,600 last week, another 1,600 to come. And as I explored in my previous video, it's actually a lot more than that because of vendors and co-dev studios and all the other kind of ripple effects of that. They also said that they were going to double down on some of their biggest franchises, including Fallout and the Elder Scrolls, which are the two studios that Bethesda Game Studios and Todd Howard are the two franchises that Bethesda Game Studios and Todd Howard are responsible for. And so this morning, July 17th, they made some announcements to kind of reflect that plan. They laid out a roadmap in a way that I thought was really interesting. So here's the top line. Big news is they're officially announcing Fallout 5. I don't think they've said anything. I think they've said they're going to work on a new Fallout game like after Elder Scrolls 6, which is their next game, but they haven't officially called it Fallout 5 as far as I can tell. This is their kind of first time mentioning that. They say in their blog post that Fallout 5 is their kind of long-range destination. They also announced remasters for Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, which have been heavily rumored in the past. I think everybody knew that they were coming, but had not been confirmed until now. No news on release dates for those two. And this is the most interesting. They confirmed my report from last week that they will be collaborating with Obsidian on a Fallout project. Not saying anything about it, just saying, hey, we're confirming that we're working with Obsidian on a new Fallout game. We'll share more down the road in the future. Couple more news nuggets from today's announcement. More Fallout Shelter stuff coming. They're doing a new Fallout 76 expansion that is a prequel story to Fallout 3 called Raven Rock that's coming out next year. Seems pretty clear that the Fallout 3 remaster is going to come next year at some point. I think that's safe to say. They talk about how they're currently making Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 on Creation Engine 3, which is their proprietary technology. Fallout 5 is in pre-production, they're saying. I think they want to hint that maybe Fallout 5 is in kind of simultaneous development to Elder Scrolls 6, so you won't be waiting until 2040 to play Fallout 5. They talk about how ZeniMax Online Studios, which is the studio behind the Elder Scrolls Online, which laid off a lot of staff last week as part of the massive reorganization that Xbox did. They talk about how they are going to, in addition to supporting Elder Scrolls Online, they are going to partner with Bethesda Game Studios on the Elder Scrolls franchise. In other words, they're going to support the main studio, BGS. They're going to be a support studio for Elder Scrolls stuff. Talk about season 3 of Fallout being on the way. Talk a little bit about Starfield updates coming. That's kind of the main news. And so I asked Todd Howard. I got a chance to sit down with Todd Howard for about 20 minutes to talk about some of this stuff. He didn't get super specific on a lot. He dodged some questions, not gonna lie. But actually, it was really interesting because he's a fascinating guy and I always enjoy talking to him. So I asked him, I got a little, the stuff he dodged specifically is about the Obsidian project. He didn't really want to get into how that came about. Like why now, why it just happened. Like I think there's maybe a story to be told there another time, but Howard didn't want to get into it. He told me that I'm going to read a little bit from the transcript that I have here. He told me that he is good friends with Obsidian, talks to Fergus Urquhart, their CEO, all the time. When I asked him, I said, hey, like, have they gone to you in the past to pitch Fallout games? And he said, well, we all talk, and hey, this would make sense when the timing is right. And so I said, well, what made the timing right now? And he said, quote, that would be spoiler-ish. Which I thought was pretty funny. He talked a little bit about, I asked him like, hey, is like Obsidian going to be the lead on this? Kind of like they were with Fallout New Vegas with like support and supervision from Bethesda Game Studios, or is it going to be more of like a collaborative thing? What is that going to look like? He said, quote, it's going to be a collaboration and we're starting that now. And then he said, I would say the Fallout franchise all up is managed out of here, and our staff and our franchise team. So essentially Fallout is still going to be managed at BGS. It's still going to be supervised by BGS. TBD how much of kind of the creative vision will be executed by and a lot of times people have no idea what an engine means, but they talk about it anyway. Essentially, an engine is kind of the framework of technology and tools that you use to create a game. It's very important on if you're actually working with the game and the technology and the tools. I think from a consumer perspective a little bit less important than people than maybe people out there like to make it seem, enthusiast gamers and YouTubers and the like. But still, you can there are aspects of an engine that are visible to the customer, and when something is on the creation engine, I think there are indications of that in the way that the certain aspects of the technology work. But anyway, he wouldn't answer that. He said, we'll talk about that when we talk about the game. And yeah, I mean, when I asked him about like how this all came together, if Obsidian had pitched games in the Fallout franchise before, and if BGS had said no to that, and no real answer. He said, we when I talked to Fergus and other people, what we would make when having those conversations, now is the right time. I asked him a little bit about why it's been so long since we've gotten a new Fallout game, especially with this hit show. A lot of people have been wondering, why was there new Fallout, no new Fallout game to coincide with the release of the Amazon show? He talked a little bit about Fallout 76 being enormous and putting a lot of resources into that. And he said, I look at it from what does the franchise look like to the audience? I view TV as one chapter, and I view when is a franchise really, really healthy, and when can we execute whatever we're doing, whether it's a mobile game or a TV show or remasters, making sure that we execute those at the highest level. He said our focus was 76 and the remasters and Fallout 5, and it's not that we wouldn't want it, it's finding the right pocket, timing, and everything that goes along with that. Couple other tidbits from our interview. I asked him a little bit about the layoffs because BGS actually laid off a few dozen people last week, including some long timers, some people who had been with the studio for a very long time. He said it's difficult for him, difficult for people who work together. He talked about how it's Bethesda's 40th anniversary and how there have been periods where we've gone through changes. He talks about how, like, in back in the 90s, the company almost went out of business, and then it became kind of ZeniMax 2.0, and now we're going through a change so that we focus best on the franchises and what we need to do to deliver for everybody. I talked to him a little bit about what it's been like managing a studio that has expanded from less than 100 people on Skyrim to now hundreds of people across multiple locations, offices all around North America, for Starfield and now future games. It was interesting hearing his perspective on that. He talked a little bit about how, like, everybody has their own opinion on like what the right team size is, and how when he started at Bethesda back in the day, there was a team of maybe 10 people on a Terminator game, and then when that team doubles, going from 10 to 20, that's like, holy crap, like we just went from 10 to 20, that's unbelievable. And then it goes to 40, 60, 80, 100, and he talks about how, quote, there's always a period where everyone has their own opinion, that was the right one. And he talks about the progression, and he talks about how, like, when they did expand from just having that Rockville, Maryland studio to 4 different studios at Bethesda, we went through a lot of growing pains. I won't sugarcoat it. It was tricky. We made a lot of mistakes. And he talked about how, like, they have a lot of learning to do, a lot of kind of, now they're working with a lot of co-development partners, and still much learning to do. I personally find that to be a very interesting conversation, the topic of team sizes, and that's something I'll definitely address further down the road in future videos and reporting. I've written some stuff about that as well. I asked him a little bit about the state of Elder Scrolls 6. He didn't want to talk about the timing. He talked about how, like, as most people know, Todd Howard prefers to wait to talk about these games until as close to release as possible. But he said, like, they felt like this was a good time to just kind of, like, lay out this roadmap. And finally, I asked him about retirement, and he told me, quote, the truth is there was a period of time a while back where I pondered, what does it look like? Not is it imminent, but what does it look like? And I no longer do. I see the work we're doing. I just love it. I love working with these people. It's really not something I think about. And he says, some folks in our industry that are a little older than me, they're just making great stuff too. So it's not something I've been thinking about. So yeah, interesting conversation there. Make sure to check out my story at Bloomberg this morning if you want to see the written version of that interview and this big news. So here's a little backstory on why this is such a strange thing that happened. In 2013, I did a series of stories about Bethesda, including a story about the turbulent development of what at the time was called Doom 4. a story about Arcane, the developer within Bethesda, the studio, being kind of forced to work on a game that would later be called Prey, but at the time was being called Prey 2. A lot of weird backstory there I won't get into, but basically I did a story about this, and some people came out and denied it, and then I published some emails showing that that their denial was a lie. And then finally, at the end of the year, I published a story about Fallout 4. And the context there is that there was this kind of like fake ARG that someone put up called The Survivor or something, $22.99 or something like that. And a lot of people fell for it. A lot of people thought it was a real ARG for Fallout. And so my story, I debunked that. But at the same time, I said, well, look, despite this, Fallout 4 is real. It's set in Boston. And here's a little bit of evidence for that. Now, despite what you might have seen on the internet, because there's kind of a misconception about this, I did not post in Kotaku. I was at Kotaku at the time. We did not post anything about the story of the game. And we did not post any spoilers of the story of the game. We did not leak the script. We did not do anything other than just kind of share a few cast document or a few details of script pages that were unrelated to story, and that were just kind of like, here is evidence that this game is real. It's set in Boston. That's all we're going to share. And what actually happened was I was sent some script pages from the script of the game, including the beginning of the game where you find out, spoilers for the first 30 minutes of Fallout, but essentially you are put in this cryogenic freezing chamber. You are jumped forward in time, and your son is kidnapped and your spouse is killed. And that was all on the script pages that I got in 2013. I deliberately chose not to share those in the Kotaku article because I didn't want to spoil the story for people. So it's kind of ironic and annoying that there's somehow this, I've seen on Reddit all the time, people saying, Jason Schreier spoiled the script for spoil the story for Fallout 4, and that actually is not what happened. Anyway, so between the Fallout story, the Doom story, and the Arcane story, some people at Bethesda, including their PR boss at the time, made the decision to blacklist me and blacklist Kotaku. And that was 2013. We tried for a very long time to talk to them, to have conversations with them off the record, to try to clear the air, to try to explain why we do what we do, talk through reporting and why it's important to us, yada, yada, yada. Not so much because of like review copies. I didn't really care about that. Maybe other people did. I cared more about getting a chance to talk to people like Todd Howard, which I had gotten to do when Skyrim came out in 2011, and it was really cool. I found him fascinating. I think he's a really interesting designer. I know he enjoyed talking to me, et cetera, et cetera. So that just kind of lasted for a very long time. When I came to Bloomberg in 2020, the blacklist continued. Some of my colleagues here had some conversations with, as Xbox took over Bethesda, which was at the end of 2020 into 2021, some of my colleagues here were kind enough to have conversations with them, trying to get them to ease off. It was kind of like a very long work in progress about like trying to figure out what that might look like. And then a few years later, the person who actually made the call to blacklist me left. But still, it was a little while before any of that could be solved. And then yesterday, talking to Todd, that was actually the first time that I have talked to anyone at Bethesda in an official on-the-record capacity since before 2013. And so I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that the people at Bethesda and Xbox and Todd Howard, of course, I really appreciate that they were willing to do that and willing to start the process of just kind of getting past that blacklist and moving on, because I don't really think blacklists are good for anybody. And I very much stand by all of that reporting that I did. I don't have any regrets about that. I do have some regrets about stories I've done at Kotaku and stories I've done over the years, just because I think anyone who's been doing this for long enough has some regrets about things they've published or would have done things a little bit differently. But in this case, I have absolutely no regrets because, as I mentioned, we were very careful about that Fallout stuff, very deliberate to not post spoilers.
But I guess over here on the interview that Jez did on Windows Central, it's probably the same thing. But Jez recently interviewed him, which Jez said was a dream moment for him, as he was talking about it yesterday on Xbox 2, him and Rand. So that was a big moment for him. As Xbox cuts bite. Bethesda set out to reassure fans about the biggest future of its biggest franchise. Good news often comes in threes, and that could be true of fans of Starfield, Elder Scrolls, and Fallout. Just now, Xbox Studio offered a massive update on its plans for its being 3 properties. And we caught up with studio director Todd Howard to learn more about what fans can expect. We love making this world as much as you love playing them. Today we want to share what's next for Bethesda Game Studios and what you expect from us in the years ahead. For 40 years we built games that have entertained almost 500 million players. More than just games, these are worlds for you to explore, shape, and make your own. Here's an overview of what was announced. On Fallout, Bethesda confirmed is working towards Fallout 5, which is now in pre-production. Bethesda confirmed previous reporting that Fallout 3 and New Vegas will get full remakes, but didn't announce dates. Bethesda also confirmed Obsidian is returning to Fallout with its very own spin-off. It said more info will come on the future. 76 is getting a huge DLC update called Raven Rock, which is serves as a prequel to Fallout 3. Starfield is slated for more content with Starborn DLC on the horizon and more tools and features to boost Creation Club content. Bethesda says Starfield remains an important part of our future. Elder Scrolls 6 is progressing nicely, and Todd said that the studio is where they want to be. Don't expect it anytime soon. Elder Scrolls Online will continue to get new seasons, and ZeniMax Online Studios will be more directly integrated into Bethesda proper to improve collaboration. Elder Scrolls 6 is Bethesda's current focus. We're where we plan to be, loving how it looks and playing every day. A big part of what revolves around Creation Engine 3, which Bethesda has been developing specifically to boost simultaneous franchise development. Oh my god. Oh my god. Jesus fuck. You fucks. Fucking red alert for some missing kid or some shit. I didn't enjoy that. There's a missing autistic child in Calgary, apparently. We got the call. When I got the call, I'd be speaking to Todd Howard. I was floored. I've been doing this for over a decade, and never in my wildest dreams did I imagine I would lead to an on-the-record chat with one of gaming's most prominent. Backstory about Todd Howard. Started Bethesda in '94, solidified his gaming legend with Elder Scrolls Morrowind back in 2000. Top of mind for me, and I suspect most of the Xbox faithful right now, is Microsoft's huge cuts, which seem to have disproportionately fell into ZeniMax's lap. I asked Howard how he and the team was doing, given what's going on. Great question. Howard said, looking visibly sorrowful, I've been doing this a long time. Whenever you work for people in some cases, difficult. You're no longer there. Here. Oh my god, I can't read this. I've been doing this a long time. Whenever you've worked with people for, in some cases, many decades, and you're no longer there. Howard referred to previously difficult times in Bethesda history. During the 90s, Bethesda struggled to make it into the big time. We had to change who we were and how we did some things.